Under the dilapidated charm of the sun-bleached town, Carlsbad, New Mexico, there thrived an unusual heartbeat. It was a town of contrasts, where the harsh, luminous sun painted mirages on the parched earth, and shadows cast long and heavy in the arid silence. The pastel adobes, the tumbling tumbleweeds, the endlessly blue skies. It was a place that seemed drowsily suspended in time. From an outsider's gaze, Carlsbad was but an ordinary desert town. But for the seasoned, life-etched eyes of John Kellen, it was a puzzle awaiting resolution. His rough-hewn features, a map of past hardships, crinkled into a stoic frown as he ambled down the sun-dappled main street, stepping over fissures in the worn cobblestone, squinting against the oppressive midday sun. John was no stranger to hardship. Born of a childhood steeped in abject poverty, he was a symphony of survival. Every threadbare article of clothing he wore, every well-worn wrinkle on his face, bore testament to his struggles. Yet his past did not harden his heart, but rather made it more expansive, an ocean of generosity. His most ferocious battle, however, was a war waged within, unseen yet unrelenting. The churning maelstrom of addiction, the dragon he dueled daily, the silent war cry of his ceaseless battle against this inner beast became a symphony of resistance, humming in his veins, keeping time with the rhythm of his dogged determination. There was a certain allure to the macabre for him. It was no surprise that his latest assignment, a mortician's office at the heart of a bizarre identity theft, piqued his interest. His newspaper, the Carlsbad Chronicle, served as a beacon of truth in a town veiled in enchanting myths and increasingly unsettling mysteries. He entered the mortician's office, a dismal and dreary place, its grim existence a stark contrast to the sun-soaked vibrancy outside. The grim dance of dust particles in the office's stale air felt like a prelude to a haunting symphony, a symphony that he was about to compose. "Are the dead not safe, Mr. Kellen?" the mortician questioned, a gaunt figure swathed in shadow, his voice a chilling whisper that wound its way around the dimly lit room. "It seems, Mr. Drury, even the departed can't escape Carlsbad's curiosities," John replied, his voice gravelly, the veiled threat behind his words hanging heavy in the room. As the echoes of their conversation faded into the cavernous quiet, he knew he was on the precipice of a story that went beyond stolen identities. There was a melody to this mystery, a sinister tune that hung in the stifling air of the mortician's office, and he was determined to unravel it, note by eerie note. As the day gave way to the obsidian night, the flickering lamplight revealed something more haunting about the mortician's office. Its shadows, deeper, its secrets, darker. The day had sung its requiem, and John, armed with his unwavering courage and steadfast resolve, was ready to compose the nocturne of Carlsbad's chilling mystery. As dawn's soft tendrils curled over the slumbering silhouette of Carlsbad, John found himself in the throes of another day. He looked out from the window of his modest lodgings onto a world now waking, the sanguine hues of the rising sun breathing life into the arid landscape. But despite the sun's promising ascent, the shadow of the previous day's enigma weighed heavily on him. His gaze fell on the reflection staring back at him, weathered lines etching a tale of perseverance in his visage. The mirror held an unflinching honesty, reflecting not just his haggard form, but the invisible shackles of his past, the specter of his addictions, their memory as persistent as the New Mexican dust that clung to his worn boots. Yet it was the same grit that pushed him forward. There was a story to unearth, and he was a man forged by adversity, tempered in the crucible of life's harshest fires. He didn't just seek truth, he was its unyielding champion. Carlsbad's quaint charm seemed dimmed as he delved deeper into the town's unsettling oddities. He strolled through the sun-drenched streets, exchanging pleasantries with the townsfolk. Yet beneath their warm smiles and friendly small talk, there lurked a sense of discomfort, a vague awareness of the strange events unfolding under the sweltering sun. A visit to the local diner found him in the company of Mildred, an elderly waitress who had served more years than she'd care to admit. Over the steady hum of the diner's chatter, he inquired about the townsfolk, their stories, their secrets. "Have you ever heard the dead speak, Mr. Kellen?" Mildred asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The playful clink of silverware against ceramic was a dissonant accompaniment to her eerie question. He paused, the clatter of his coffee mug on the saucer echoing his surprise. "Only when someone gives them a voice, Mildred." His reply earned a nod, a wistful smile curling at her lips. "Well, it seems someone's giving our dear departed far too many voices," she said. Their cryptic conversation cemented his suspicions. Beneath the benign veneer of Carlsbad, the departed were not just stripped of their mortal shrouds, but they seemed to rise again, wearing new lives. A macabre puppetry was afoot, and it all led back to the mortician's office, the eerie epicenter of the town's escalating dread. As the sun set, casting long, spectral shadows across the town, a darker side of Carlsbad emerged, and John stood resolute at the heart of the mystery. He knew he was dancing on the razor's edge of the unknown, an abyss yawning open before him, ready to swallow him whole. Yet he was not afraid, for he was not merely stepping into the shadows, he was becoming one with them. In the heart of Carlsbad's mystery, he found his narrative. In its shadow, he would discover his truth. With each passing day, the stark sunlight became less of a comfort for John Kellen. It felt more like a spotlight, revealing the rot that had taken root beneath Carlsbad's facade of normalcy. As the narrative of the town's eerie happenings took shape, his resolve was akin to a lighthouse, unwavering amidst the rising storm. His persistent search led him back to the mortician's office, the grim edifice standing like a silent custodian of the town's darkest secrets. His footsteps echoed hollowly in the empty hallways, the chilling hush wrapping around him like a shroud. As he delved further into the labyrinthine office, every room revealed a new piece of the morbid puzzle, a new note in Carlsbad's growing symphony of terror. In a locked room filled with embalming fluids and surgical tools, he made his most chilling discovery yet. A collection of personal belongings, eyeglasses, lockets, letters, each one a piece of a life once lived, now transformed into macabre trophies. More disturbing was their arrangement, not chaotic, but meticulously organized, each item cataloged, tagged with names of the deceased, almost revered. The realization dawned on him. These were not merely stolen identities. They were stolen lives, taken over by entities that were not of this world. Confronting Mr. Jury, John's voice was iron against the mortician's feeble protests. "You're not a guardian of the dead, Jury. You're their jailer." But Jury's hollow laugh, echoing in the grim room, chilled him to the bone. "Not a jailer, Kellen. Merely a facilitator. We're all but vessels waiting to be filled." The insidious truth reared its monstrous head. Carlsbad had become a breeding ground for cosmic parasites, entities beyond human comprehension that controlled their hosts like marionettes in a grotesque puppet show. The mortician's office, it seemed, was their unholy cathedral, their gateway into the world. As the ghastly revelation sunk into the marrow of John's being, he felt the comforting fabric of reality fray around him. The familiar faces he had come to know now appeared as eerie masks of horror, each one potentially a puppet for these insidious entities. The once friendly streets of Carlsbad now felt like a labyrinth of shadows, every corner whispering a sinister secret, every gust of wind carrying an alien echo. The desert town was no longer a mere backdrop for a human mystery. It had become a terrifying stage for an unimaginable cosmic horror. Under the oppressive weight of his discovery, he found himself at a crossroads. As the sun set, casting monstrous shadows that seemed to reach out for him, he realized he was stepping into a darkness that could swallow him whole. Yet in the face of this overwhelming horror, his resolve did not falter. He knew he was the town's last hope, the lone warrior in a battlefield of shadows. Even as the terror tightened its grip, he knew he was ready for the descent. For in this darkness, he would either find the town's salvation or his own doom. John had always been a dweller of shadows. They were a familiar landscape, a land where his demons thrived, a theater for his ceaseless struggle with addiction. But now he was about to embark on a different descent, one that threatened to eclipse his own personal darkness. The shadow of Carlsbad was a cosmic abyss, an ocean of horror, an alien twilight that promised a terrifying communion with the unknown. With an air of grim determination, he stepped into the labyrinthine depths of the mortician's office. The gloomy corridors twisted and turned like the innards of some monstrous beast, the bleak walls closing in, their whispering silence pregnant with a sinister chorus. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered and danced, their erratic rhythm and eerie waltz to this unfolding horror. His encounters with the townsfolk were now painted in a gruesome hue. The friendly smile of the grocer, the boisterous laugh of the bartender, the innocent wave of a child, all potential disguises for the insidious puppet masters that lurk beneath human skin. As he delved deeper into this macabre mystery, he found himself being drawn into a grotesque dance with the very entities he sought to unmask. At the heart of this labyrinth, in a room that smelled of formaldehyde and alien menace, he finally came face to face with the cosmic parasites. In the dim pulsating light, they appeared like writhing shadows, monstrous yet mesmerizing. As he looked upon the entity, he felt a chilling connection, a feeling of dreadful intimacy. He realized then that he was not merely observing the cosmic horror, he was becoming a part of it. The realization was both horrifying and intoxicating. He had spent a lifetime wrestling his own inner demons, and now he was offered a chance to become one with a power that transcended his fears. It was a dark baptism, a grotesque communion, a cosmic sacrament. John Kellen, the man born of adversity, was no stranger to struggle. Yet his lifelong battle against addiction had never prepared him for this alluring seduction. He was standing on the precipice of an abyss, its depths beckoning him with a call that was impossible to ignore. In the face of this unimaginable power, he found an odd sense of serenity. A calm acceptance washed over him, as if he had always been destined to be a part of this alien symphony, to dance to the tune of this cosmic horror. His journey had been a pilgrimage, and this, his dark epiphany. As he joined the ranks of the controlled, his last shred of humanity echoed a mournful farewell. Yet the loss felt insignificant against the vast cosmic scale of his newfound alliance. He was no longer a journalist, a survivor, an addict. He was now a vessel, an instrument in the grand, horrifying orchestra of the cosmos. His descent was complete. The echoes of his simplicity were swallowed by the overwhelming presence of his new masters. In his place, under the shadow of the sun, a new entity rose, an intricate piece in the cosmic horror's grotesque puzzle. The symphony played on, its haunting melody echoing in the depths of Carlsbad. The dance had only just begun. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.